Welcome to the deep dive. We're your shortcut to getting informed, taking the sources you share, and pulling out the absolute must-know info. Today, we're jumping into something pretty urgent. This really powerful and dangerous heat wave that's set to hit a huge part of the U.S. Our mission here is simple. We'll take that source material, especially the comprehensive guide on surviving the heat, and boil it down for you. We want the key takeaways, the actionable stuff, so you're prepared and safe.
Right, and that's kind of the idea behind sources like Easy Digest, isn't it? They try to make complex things, well, simple.
Yeah.
Clear, bite-sized episodes, giving you the facts, the context, and the key takeaways without it being too much. And that's exactly what we want to do for you today with this heat wave info.
Yeah, because this is way beyond just feeling a bit hot. We're talking potentially record-breaking heat. Plus, that really sticky humidity and, frankly, serious health risks for millions. I mean, the National Weather Service, they've put out warnings, watches, advisories for over 150 million people.
150 million, that's almost half the country facing some pretty extreme conditions.
Exactly. So let's unpack this. What is happening? We keep hearing about this heat dome. What did the sources tell you about why this one is such a big deal right now?
Okay, so a heat dome, it's basically this big area of high pressure that acts like a lid, trapping hot air near the surface. What makes this one stand out, according to the material, is just how strong and persistent it is. It's parked itself right over the central and eastern U.S., and it's just cooking everything underneath, pushing temperatures way, way above what's normal for this time of year.
Way above normal. What does that actually mean in terms of numbers? Are we really talking records here?
We are, yeah. In many places like the Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, the East Coast, they're forecasting highs between 95 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's like 35 to 38 Celsius. But the sources really stress that some big cities might not just get close to, but could actually break their all-time high temperature records. That tells you something about the intensity. And, it's not just the number on the thermometer. There's the humidity. It's going to be really high, pushing that feels-like temperature. The heat index, well over 105 degrees Fahrenheit in a lot of areas. That's really dangerous territory.
105 feels like.
Yeah. And another thing the sources highlight, even the nights aren't going to bring much relief. Lows might stay stuck above 80 degrees Fahrenheit in some places, so your body just doesn't get that chance to cool down and recover overnight. It's this cumulative stress.
That lack of overnight cooling sounds really tough. It just wears you down, right? So what makes this particular event more dangerous than, say, just a typical hot summer spell?
Well, one key thing that came up in the sources is that it's hitting relatively early in the season. It's an early season event.
Yeah.
What that means is most people's bodies just haven't had time to adjust, to acclimatize to really high heat yet.
Ah, okay. So we're less prepared physically.
Exactly. We haven't built up that tolerance. So the shock of this extreme heat, it hits harder and it hits faster. It's like jumping straight into ice water versus wading in.
Makes sense.
And then there's the bigger picture. The sources are pretty clear on this. Human-caused climate change it's making these extreme heat events more common and also more intense. You mentioned the 150 million people affected.
Yeah.
That scale really underlines how climate change is directly impacting public health, infrastructure, basically everyone.
Right. And it hits some places harder than others, that urban heat island effect. How much does that really crank things up in cities?
Oh, it's a huge factor. The sources explain it really well.
Yeah.
Cities have all this concrete, asphalt, dark roofs, not enough trees or green space, and all that stuff basically absorbs and traps heat way more than, say, grassy rural areas.
Like a giant radiator.
Pretty much, yeah. It creates these microclimates that can be significantly hotter, sometimes, believe it or not, 10, even 15 degrees Fahrenheit hotter than nearby suburbs or countryside, especially at night. So for people living in cities, maybe without good access to AC, it really stacks the odds against them.
Okay, so this really drives home the danger. It's not just discomfort, it's potentially deadly. Let's get into the so what factor, the health risks. What specific things, maybe beyond the obvious, should people be watching out for?
Yeah, it's vital to know the signs. Most people know heat exhaustion means things like heavy sweating, maybe feeling dizzy or nauseous. But the sources really emphasize looking out for confusion. That's a big one. If someone seems disoriented, really irritable, maybe slurring their speech, that could mean it's escalating quickly to heat stroke.
And heat stroke is the really serious one.
It's a life-threatening emergency. That's when your body's internal thermostat basically fails. Your core temperature shoots up, you might stop sweating, and it can cause organ damage, loss of consciousness. You need immediate medical help.
Mm.
9/11 immediately.
Okay, confusion is a key red flag. What about people with existing health problems?
Yeah, that's another major concern highlighted. Extreme heat puts a massive strain on your heart and lungs because your body is working overtime just to cool down.
Mm.
So anyone with heart disease, lung conditions like asthma or COPD
Mhm.
or kidney problems, they're at much higher risk of their condition getting worse. And the sources also point out that people with diabetes can have trouble regulating body temperature, and even some mental health medications can interfere with sweating, which is, your body's AC.
It seems like a lot of different groups are particularly vulnerable. You mentioned kids, seniors. Why are they more susceptible? Is it just physiology?
It's often a mix of things. Babies and young kids, their bodies just aren't as good at regulating temperature yet. They can overheat much faster.
Mm.
Older adults often have those underlying health conditions we just talked about.
Yeah.
Plus, their sense of thirst might not be as sharp, so they can get dehydrated without realizing it. And medications can play a role, too. Pregnant women have extra physiological demands on their bodies already. And anyone with a chronic illness just has fewer reserves to cope with that added stress from the heat. The sources really stress needing to be proactive in checking on these groups.
Okay, this is serious stuff. Let's shift to what people can actually do. What are the absolutely essential safety tips listeners need to take away from this? Any surprises in the guidance?
Definitely. So, number one, and this sounds obvious, but stay indoors if you can, preferably somewhere with air conditioning.
Yeah.
An interesting point from the sources was about public cooling centers, libraries, malls, community centers. Using them, if you don't have AC at home, can apparently cut heat-related ER visits significantly. It's much better than just trying to tough it out.
Good tip. Okay, what else?
Second, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Drink lots of water before you feel thirsty. Thirst means you're already starting to get dehydrated. One source mentioned studies showing even mild dehydration in extreme heat can actually impair your thinking, your cognitive function, by like 15%. So it's about safety and clear thinking too. And yeah, definitely steer clear of alcohol, caffeine, sugary sodas. They actually pull water out of your system.
Right, stick to water. Got it. Number 3.
Dress smart. Lightweight, light-colored, loose-fitting clothes. Light colors reflect sun. Loose clothes let air circulate so sweat can evaporate. That's how you cool down naturally.
Yeah.
A wide-brimmed hat if you have to be outside. Not just fashion, it makes a real difference blocking direct sun.
Okay, practical stuff. What's next?
Fourth, limit outdoor activity, especially the strenuous stuff. Avoid being out or doing hard work during the hottest part of the day, usually like midday through late afternoon.
Yeah.
The sources warn that even something that seems minor, like gardening for an hour, can become risky really fast when the heat index is this high. Try to do things early morning or in the evening if you can.
Reschedule things. Makes sense.
Fifth, and this is so important, check on vulnerable people and pets. Kids, seniors, neighbors who live alone, anyone with health issues, make sure they're okay, make sure they're cool, and please, never ever leave a child or a pet in a parked car, not even for a minute with the window cracked. The temperature inside can skyrocket dangerously fast. It happens every year, it's tragic, and it's preventable.
Absolutely critical point. Okay, number 6.
Eat light and cool. Think smaller meals, things like salads, fruits, vegetables. Digesting heavy, hot food actually creates more heat inside your body. So, maybe skip the big roast dinner.
Good advice. And finally,
Know the warning signs of heat illness. We talked about heat exhaustion, heavy sweating, weakness, dizziness, and heat stroke confusion, high fever, possibly passing out. The sources emphasize again, if you suspect heat stroke, don't wait, don't go to urgent care. Call 911 or get to an emergency room immediately. Time is critical.
that's a really clear, actionable list. Thank you for distilling that. Beyond these immediate actions, how can people stay updated and maybe prepare for knock-on effects, like power issues?
Yeah, good point. It's really important to monitor local alerts. Pay attention to the National Weather Service updates, your local news. They'll have the latest forecasts, advisories, maybe locations of cooling centers. And yes, this kind of extreme heat puts a huge strain on the power grid. So, prepare for potential power outages. Think about what you do if the AC goes out. Have a backup plan. Know where you could go to stay cool. Maybe have some battery-powered fans on hand.
Okay. So wrapping this up, the big takeaway seems clear. Being prepared, being aware, it's absolutely essential for getting through this heat wave safely. This isn't just about being uncomfortable, is it? It's about taking real, informed steps, the kind of steps outlined in the sources to protect yourself, your family, and your community.
Exactly. And maybe one final thought to leave you with, something to chew on. We know, And the sources confirm that human-caused climate change is making these extreme heat events more likely, more intense. We see the strain on things like the power grid right now. So thinking longer term, what kind of broader adaptations do we as communities, as individuals, need to start seriously considering for a future where these intense heat waves are, well, more common? It's a big question, but one we probably need to start asking.